Hello everyone and welcome to Wednesdays with Wanda. My name is Wanda Nordley and I'm happy you are here for another edition of Provoking Courage, Finding Strength in Vulnerability. Today, I was going to talk about where there is darkness, there is light. But instead, with the holiday season approaching, I thought it was important to talk about sadness. Today's podcast is about getting to the other side of sadness. Sitting with our sadness takes a courage to believe that we can bear the pain and we will come out on the other side. As we approach the holiday season, I have been reflecting on the last 6 months and thinking about our families and friends that I know who have been affected with illnesses and loss of loved ones. We may find it harder this year as we approach the holidays to find joy, or find ourselves sitting in our sadness trying to figure out how we will come out on the other side of our grief. When my oldest son died, and then 7 years later, my husband died, I believed I was the only one who could understand what I was going through, and no one could help me. When I finally found the courage to reach out, it was the best thing I did for myself and for my youngest son. I'm asking all of you to please remember that you don't have to go through any of this alone. There is always someone to reach out to that would be more than willing to listen. All it takes is a little courage to reach out if you need any help dealing with sadness. I'll be happy to leave my email address to anyone who wants to reach out, and we can coordinate a time to talk if you find you can't talk to anyone else. So let's talk about getting to the other side of sadness. The last thing most of us want to hear or think about when we are dealing with profound feelings of sadness is that deep learning can be found. During our pain, we often feel picked on by life, or overwhelmed by the enormity of some loss, or simply too exhausted to try and examine the situation. We may feel far too disappointed and angry to look for anything resembling a bright side to our suffering. Still, somewhere in our hearts, we know that we will eventually emerge from the depths into the light of greater awareness. Remembering this truth, no matter how extreme it seems, can help. The other thing we often would rather not hear when we are dealing with intense sadness is that the only way out of it is through it. Sitting with our sadness takes a courage to believe that we can bear the pain and the faith that we will come out on the other side. With courage, we can allow ourselves to cycle through the grieving process with full inner permission to experience it, and remembering everyone experiences the grieving process differently. This is a powerful teaching that sadness has to offer us. The ability to surrender and the acceptance of change go hand in hand. Another teaching of sadness is compassion for others who are in pain, because it is only in feeling our own pain that we can really understand and allow for someone else's. Sadness is something we all go through, and we all learn from it and are deepened by its presence in our lives. While our own individual experiences of sadness carry with them unique lessons, the effects of what we learn are universal. The wisdom we gain from going through the process of feeling loss, heartbreak, or deep disappointment gives us access to the heart of humanity. I would like to dedicate today's podcast to family and friends that we have lost, the ones still struggling with illnesses, and to the ones who are working on getting to the other side of their sadness. I would also like to thank you again for listening, and I hope you will join me next week for another edition of Wednesdays with Wanda, when we will talk about where there is darkness, there is light. And remember, you don't have to go through this alone.